tired of it. Where is he? There's like a difference.
Sweetheart, what happened? You said somebody called you a bad word? What was that word? Nigger? Okay.
I was born in an ambulance racing down a dark road in the northeast region of France, near the town of Nancy.
June, and I remember even though it's summertime, since we were on the way to San Diego, I remember the weather was kind of like overcast, like cloudy.
Very young. I must have been 4 years old or 5. I remember loving the show Wonder Woman and wanting to.
I never doubted myself for a second, and I had a couple close calls in instances where like I could have shot somebody.
Check. The weird thing about for me and gender stuff when I was a little is that, like I was saying, we were United Pentecostal, and United Pentecostal girls can't wear pants.
They can't cut their hair. If you want to go swimming, you have to wear culottes, and I hated it. Why did you bring me to this world like this? Because really, honestly, from the day I was born, I've always been physical. Was never the smartest fucking marble in the jar, but always wanted to be climbing on things, playing, and dancing. The clothes were just restricted. We had to wear on full-on dresses. I grew up in a way where guys got to do all the physical stuff. Game-wise, that was the kind of shit I wanted to do. My brother didn't want to do that shit. I wanted to do that shit. He didn't want to play at all. I wanted to. Always wanted to play. Anyways, around 4 or 5 years old, I felt that something was wrong, but I didn't have the relationship to it yet. Something is not correct. It's not lining up with me. When I was 7, we moved in with my father. And my sister was 2 years older than me, and she was really religious. And that was the first time we were allowed to wear pants. She grabs me by the hand, takes me to the top of the yard, and says, "We will not wear pants! We will not wear pants!" Pink polyester bell-bottoms from a second-hand store. Hideous. But I really liked it. I can climb trees. I could do everything that I've always wanted to do by wearing those clothes. Because of the way I grew up with my father, it wasn't like we had to work our asses off. He was a tree person. He cut down trees for a living. It wasn't like she couldn't do that. It was never like that. We all had the same miserable treatment from my father. I was running around mowing lawns and all that kind of shit. It's the first time I felt that I was in the middle. Around 7, 10 years old, I got to hang with the boys, and then puberty. It became clear. It became really clear that this was not supposed to happen. You know, all the physical changes that was happening, 12, 13 years old, I was that girl hiding in the locker room trying to conceal as much skin as possible because I was so physically uncomfortable. I used to get teased on ruthlessly by the girls about how physically uncomfortable I was. They would say all kinds of shit, puberty stuff. They would always find something wrong. It would either be the way I was wearing something was wrong or the way I was changing in the locker room was wrong. They would always find something wrong and they would put me on blast. Clearly, I was physically wrong and felt uncomfortable about it, but they would make sure that everyone knew about it. And I tried. I had a fucking perm. I tried to wear makeup. I tried to wear cute clothes. I really tried to be a girl. Then I found out that if I exercised enough, if I didn't have a body fat, I would be androgynous. And so started my severe eating disorder. Started out with anorexia, and then bulimia. If I worked out enough, I didn't have any body fat. I would be androgynous, and I wouldn't develop in any kind of way. If I didn't have fat on my body, I would not have periods. And that's probably the thing that was teased on the most, periods. I hated it. I didn't feel right. I couldn't get it together in my head. It just didn't feel right to me. It was the worst experience. 16, we moved to Olympia, Washington, and I started having these relationships with women. And to be honest with you, I wasn't sure if I wanted to sleep with them or I wanted to be them. It's just this yearning for something to fucking click. But I did start, and my sister, she's a dyke. But the thing about dating women or representing yourself as a dyke is you get to explore gender in a way. You get to explore masculinity in a way that straight women don't get a chance to. So I shaved off my hair. I wore no feminine clothes, which is a fucking joke because I am nothing sort of bush at all. But I did start dating women, just for a minute. And then I graduated high school and I moved to Seattle. So I was walking around, the supposed dyke in the streets, but then I started sleeping with men. Sleeping with men on the DL. I kept it very, very private. Once again, I was faced with this, what am I doing externally and how am I feeling internally? It felt like a man sleeping with another man. Anyway, I just wanted to clear my head and I rode across country and my sister was up on the East Coast and we got on a Volkswagen van and went to the Michigan Women's Festival. A festival about women celebrating womenness. And once again, I felt so out of place. Well, at the festival, there was Camp Trans outside because the Michigan Women's Festival didn't allow any trans people inside. So outside, there were these people protesting. There were a bunch of street kids, punk rock kids hanging out, setting up camp. And so I go in there and sit down at the campfire. And someone, it was the first openly trans people I had ever met. And this trans woman stands up and she says, I know I'm not really a butch woman. I'm a really sensitive guy. And it clicked. It clicked. Click, 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 click. And by 21, I went on T. Okay!